Good morning and welcome to this webcast about installing Lync 2013 preview. My name is Mary and I'll be the English dubber for this presentation made by Fabrizio Volpe, Microsoft MVP on Directory Services. The agenda is quite short. We'll see the prerequisites and the installation process of Lync 2013. If you've already installed Lync 2010, the whole process for Lync 2013 is different only in some points. My lab environment actually contains one Windows 2008 R2 domain controller, one Exchange 2010 server, one Office Web Apps server, and the Lync server I'm going to install in this video. No Edge or Reserve proxy are installed during the setup process. In a production environment, it's always a good idea to have the above servers to publish Lync on the external network with a reasonable level of security. In my situation, Windows 2008 R2, I have to install and often to download and then to install a part of the required patches and features manually. For the following pieces of software, Net 4.5 framework is necessary only for Windows Server 2008 R2 and Microsoft Visual C++ 11x64 redistributable. The installers are on the Lync media in the AMD64 folder. Respectively, the installers are .NET FX45, Full x86, x64, exe, and vcredist x64 exe. Now you're allowed to launch the Lync installation that you need to add more pieces to fulfill the requirements. I've tried to cut out the idle times in which I was only looking at the usual installation bars going on from left to right. To install IIS and the related features, I strongly suggest to use a script like the one I took from the Doug Dieterich's blog. With a PowerShell script, you're less error-prone and faster. Doug made a great work publishing scripts for both Windows 2008 R2 and Windows 2012 operating systems. Thank you. Here I made a simple cut and paste and everything went in the right direction. I activated the features Desktop Experience and Active Directory administrative tools. The latter is needed only if you're preparing Active Directory for Lync using the same server. That's my situation. Added through Add Roles and Features Wizard and Server Manager, Remote Server Administration Tools, ADDS and ADLDS tools. I've installed also Server for NIS tools, but it's not required. .NET Framework 3.5.1 will be required. Why Desktop Experience feature is required? From Stale Hansen blog. All front-end servers and standard edition servers where conferencing will be deployed must have the Windows Media Format runtime installed. The Windows Media Format runtime is required to run the Windows Media Audio, WMA, files that the call park, announcement, and response group applications play for announcements and music. That's why Desktop Experience is installed. Windows Management Framework 3.0 RC makes some updated management functionality available to earlier versions of Windows. Windows Management Framework 3.0 RC can be installed on the following operating systems: Windows 7 Service Pack 1, 32-bit and 64-bit, Windows Server 2008 R2 Service Pack 1, 64-bit only. Server Core now supported with the RC release. Windows Server 2008 Service Pack 2, 32-bit and 64-bit. Windows Management Framework 3.0 contains Windows PowerShell 3.0, WMI, and WinRM. Windows Identity Foundation required for the installation of SQL Server Express 2012 helps build claims-aware applications that externalize user authentication from the application, single simplified identity model based on claims. Insert CD and run setup exe. If you have not installed Visual C++, you will be prompted to install. For a test lab, I'll leave the default path. From installing your first Lync server 2013 Preview Standard Edition server, as soon as you're able to successfully launch the Lync setup program, the first components to get installed are the Lync core components, which include the Lync management shell and the Lync server deployment wizard. These components are all contained in a single MSI package, oxcore.msi, located in the AMD64 setup folder on the install media, and the Lync installer actually just launches this MSI package. I've prepared Active Directory before installing the administrative tools. Note that the standard checklist is to have the tools and then the Active Directory preparation. Excerpts from installing your first Lync server 2013 Preview Standard Edition server. Active Directory preparation consists of 3 steps, including schema preparation, forest preparation, and domain preparation. Each of these steps requires different permissions, and you should ensure that the account you're using for installation is a member of the correct security group. Schema preparation, schema admins, forest preparation, enterprise admins, domain preparation, domain admin of the domain in which you are running this step. Once schema preparation is complete, you should review the log file to ensure that there were no errors or warnings. In larger environments, you should verify that AD replication has completed before moving to the forest preparation step. When you select Prepare Current Forest, a wizard will launch that will allow you to determine where the Lync universal security groups are created. Once forest preparation is complete, you should review the log file to confirm that there were no errors or warnings, and you should also consider confirming replication has completed before moving on to the next step. The final step is to select Prepare Current Domain. This command must be run in every domain in which there are users that will be enabled for Lync or Lync servers. Once completed, you should see the following screen indicating that all of the steps have been completed. After completing AD preparation, the next step is to prepare first standard edition server. This step actually installs SQL Server 2012 Express Edition and creates a named instance called RTC. RTC stores persistent user data such as user contact lists, scheduled conferences, and access control lists, and is replicated to all Lync servers. I suggest to you to read the terrific work Curtis Johnston has done in his site to explain the inner structure of the Lync databases. It's related to Lync 2010, but still good. Install administrative tools. We'll install the Topology Builder and the Lync Server Control Panel. As part of the installation process, there are a number of MSI packages installed, including admin tools.msi, ucma runtime.msi, shared management objects.msi, and SQL sys CLR types.msi. Once the central management service is installed, your environment is ready to create and deploy a new topology using Topology Builder. I had a previous topology file that I have to overwrite. The first steps require that you define the name of your primary SIP domain. Usually it's the name of your domain email address. That in my lab is lynch2013.org and the name of additional SIP domains. I decided to add also my internal Active Directory domain name. The name of the site and the description are not really important because I'm deploying a single server. Sites are really important in a bigger Lync deployment. I've explained something about Lync sites in this article on the TechNet wiki, and there is also an Italian version. Setup will launch the front-end wizard, and there is something new to notice. An enterprise pool can now have up to 20 servers. In a Lync 2010 front-end pool, the limit of the registrar pool size is at most 10. That's a standard edition installation, so I have to enter the server FQDN. I'm going to use only the conferencing feature. I'll use a no mediation server. At the moment, I have no enterprise voice implementation and no edge server. Lync Server 2013 adds back-end server high availability in the defining the SQL Server Store. It is not important in a standard edition deployment, but I have to say that SQL mirroring is a great addition to the enterprise deployments of Lync 2013. The installer will create a new instance on the server's local SQL Server Express installation, RTCLOCAL. You will be asked to define a file store. Next, you will be asked to specify the web service's URL. I'll probably expose Lync. So I have added my external URL. Office Web Apps server is in place. So I'm going to insert the URL. It has to be HTTPS to talk with Lync. Office Web Apps server allows Lync to significantly improve how and where PowerPoint presentations are viewed, and that's something new you have in Lync 2013. Now you can see that in the Topology Builder we have two structures, Lync Server 2010 and Lync Server 2013 preview. After a quick check of the settings, you're able to publish the topology by right-clicking on the top node in the left-hand pane. After the topology publishing wizard launches, press Next and select the Central Management Service. After the topology has been imported, the next step is to install the Lync components on the server. To do this, you must launch the Lync Server Deployment Wizard and select Install or Update Lync Server System. After the Lync components are installed, the next step is to request the certificates, and you do this by selecting Request, Install or Assign Certificates to launch the Certificate Wizard. This screen contains certificate or OAuth token issuer. That's new in Lync Server 2013. This technology is a new method for server-to-server authentication, and it is important to remember that the certificate issued for the OAuth token user must be the same across all Lync servers in your environment. The private key must be exportable. The certificate will be full of subject alternative names. That's something that makes third-party certificates for Lync a bit costly. In a real production environment, one solution is to have two different certificates, one for the internal domain granted from you internal CA, and one from a public CA to deploy on the external interfaces, usually reverse proxy and Lync Edge. In my lab, I've used my internal certification authority, my domain controller, to deploy the certificate. The same certificate will be used for OAuth token. I have no SharePoint 2013 or Exchange 2013 deployment at the moment, so this is not an important issue. The installation is now complete and you can start using the new server. You have to consider adding administrators to the CS administrator group in Active Directory. CS Administrator Group membership allows complete control over the Lync environment, so be careful about who is placed in this group, but at this stage, only the installation account you are using has been granted membership to this group. I'll have to check my DNS server that is configured with the split brain and add some DNS records. We will need DNS-A records for Meet, Dial-In, and SIP. For Lync clients to work with Autodiscover, we need an SRV record pointing at Lync server FQDN. Service, SIP internals. Protocol, TCP. Port number 5061. Host offering the service, FQDN of Lync. Same thing for the second DNS zone. If you want to test your environment, remember to enable one or more users to the Lync features. You can use Lync Management Shell or Lync Server Control Panel. Everything you do in the Lync Server Control Panel can be done in Lync Management Shell, but vice versa is not true. I'm adding my user to the Lync Pool Standard Edition server, and I decided to use the email address for the logon on Lync. What we have to do now is to try the Lync 2013 client. I've added user pictures to Active Directory using a third-party free tool, but you can have the same result in many different ways. Looking at Outlook 2013, what we see is the native integration with Lync and with Lync Presence. That's the end of this webcast. Thank you for your kind attention.